2024. Mr. Kosher, if you could please take roll call.
Olson.
Here.
Phelan. Here. Skelton. Here. Vossward. Here. Winnegar. Here. All present.
Thank you. Please rise and join the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, any visitors who wish to address the board may do so. We ask that you sign in when you enter the room and please list the topic. If you have not done so, please approach the podium and do. I ask that you refrain from listing any student by name or any personnel by name. Is there anyone who would like to address the board? As a reminder, no actions will be taken.
I would like to address the board, please.
You are actually our first tanager happening. We have Sue and maybe Kim, maybe not? Oh, there she is. There she is. Perfect. On some of our early childhood grants. So take it away, Sue.
Okay, super. And I don't know the PowerPoint, if he's going to turn that on. And we kind of put together a little PowerPoint. Daniel?
Yep.
Daniel's probably working on it back
Okay.
there.
There we go.
There we
I'll
go.
go ahead. Okay, all right. The Governor's Office of Economic Development, they awarded the Vermillion Chamber Development Company $400,000 this spring. And we're here tonight to talk a little bit about how some of that money is working to support the Vermillion preschool and elementary school. Now, does he click or do I click? Okay, awesome. The first thing I think that's really exciting is this is probably a framework that's never happened before. It's a framework that's bringing all the preschools together on one page, working together to support the children in our community. So we have 6 centers, 8 teachers, and about 150 preschools. So we'll have, in addition to the Vermillion preschool, we'll have 4 Head Start classrooms as well. And kind of with that framework, I met with Kim Johnson this summer, and after listening to the Vermillion strategic planning meeting, we kind of looked how we could bring some of this funding to support what you're doing in the classrooms. And we outlined 3 outcomes. I understand that you sent some teachers to Finland. So and to support that, we're going to design an outdoor stream classroom. And we're working with a group called Nature Explorers. And this will be a certified classroom for little kids to learn outdoors. And right now there's 3 certified classrooms in South Dakota, and they're all in Sioux Falls. And so I'm hoping that we have multiple ones in Vermillion. So this is you can back up just a second. If you take a look at the screen, this is what, Daniel, will you back up for a second, buddy? All right, awesome. This is what the furniture looks like. So it's beautiful, state of the art. We have 4 centers so far that we've purchased: the kitchen center, the water and mud table, the gathering area. We have building blocks, and then we also have an art center. It's one of the most beautiful environments I've ever seen for children. They offer staff development. So so far we've had 24 staff do online staff development on just how to encourage kids to learn outside. The next part that's really exciting is we have the staff development piece, and we have 2 heroes amongst us today, Miss Sorensen and Miss Evans, and they're going to be our big fun heroes, and they're going to do the teacher lead teacher model. So they're going to, basically what we're doing is we're embedding the STREAM philosophy into preschools. And the fall 2024, just last week, for the NAEYC, the National Early Childhood Organization, is that STEM for all in preschools. And also another recent research book, Raising Mentally Strong Kids. So all of this staff development will filter through the NAEYC movement. And so I know that Kim and I talked about how important that is. So if you want to flip the screen again, So then Amy and Miss Evans will lead the staff development, and these are our Head Start teachers that they'll join up. We're going to actually do Zoom meetings every month, talk about what's working, what's not working. And then for the stream focus, basically what we've outlined once again for the NEYC is making and tinkering. And so this is an engineer design that little kids do. And all of the preschool and the centers have this book. They also received a gift card to buy all the manipulatives so kids can make and think. Then if you look at the next screen, there were like 30 themes, probably about 30 themes. And then these are the 8 that fit with the current curriculum that they have for the Vermillion School District. So teachers will pick out different engineer designs that they'll do. And then the next part that we're going to do is the Sprout to STEM. And kind of what the research shows is when the elementary students start the engineer design, their first question is, how do you solve this problem? You ask. And so what the Sprout to STEM is an early childhood program. It's really cool. It helps kids sprout their thinking before they move into the engineer design. So kids will have experience making connections, checking their background knowledge. What do they know about things before they try to fix them? The teachers will go through the 7 superpowers. So the first superpower is to have big fun. And basically what all these superpowers do is they engage the brain, and they help kids be more engaged and give them the thinking and understanding strategies for that. And then the last piece, in addition to the monthly staff development, Leslie Blauman. Leslie did some staff development for us a number of years ago. She'll actually, she's an international, national consultant, and so she'll provide staff development. The teachers will say, this is what we need help with, and then she'll help do that each month. And we'll go to the next slide. Then, in addition to those stream programs, what we have is we bought, the teachers picked out stream tools for their classroom. And wow, gosh.
I know, right?
That's super cool. Good job, buddy. So basically, they're going to have, they picked out some magnet tiles, they picked out some other Duplo blocks. We have 2 coding systems, so all the preschools will have experience with the Lego coding system. And then we also have the Cubato, which is another coding tool that we have for kids. So Gus, would you show us how this works? Because I don't think, how many of you have ever seen the Duplo coding system? All right, so.
There's this green button at the bottom, and press it, and then it will make the noise, and then you push it a little, and then it moves, and then like that light that turns on, it knows that that color is there, and they know what it means.
So it's getting gas at the airport right now, right? All right. And so you have to tell it how to follow directions. And that's what the coding is you're having to have to think how to do those different things. Now what does the, I was trying to think, yellow is the horn, is that right?
Yeah.
And white, it turns the lights on. And then there's also different coding tools that you can put in. Oh, that's super. So this will be one of the tools that we'll have in all the preschools here in Vermillion. So I have Miss Evans and Miss Sorensen's here, and I don't know if there's anything you'd like to say, or Kim.
I think we're just thrilled to be part of this community opportunity, linking our preschools together and these awesome resources for our students. So I just want to thank Sue and the foundation, the DCDC, for including us in this opportunity, and I'm so happy that our teachers were thrilled to jump on board in the early summer, and they jumped in most of the summer to do some extra work to prepare for it. So
yeah, super exciting. Right now we're just starting with the wow cow and having super fun. And she's gifted us wonderful books, and we've already had so much fun reading a couple of the books with the kids and talking about, you know, we grow our superhero powers by being safe, kind, and helpful, and all sorts of other things. So the kids are excited. They're having fun. We're having fun.
Yeah, and like Sue mentioned, I'm really excited about giving all preschool students in our town the building blocks to develop those critical thinking skills. So, yeah, it's been really great.
We're looking forward to it.
And then the last part that we're going to do, so we have the outdoor classroom, we have the staff development. The last part is we're going to develop a website that will help parents transition from preschool to elementary. So that was another thing that Kim and I talked about with the strategic planning meeting. You had already had conversations about elementary to middle to high school. So we're also going to stack that with preschool to elementary. So I think the next slide will show that we have the five kindergarten teachers that are going to, is there one more slide, please? There we go. All right. So basically, who's committed so far to the transition website? We have the five kindergarten teachers, and then also we'll have the star, Mrs. Burbach, will come to the table. So that'll be something that we'll develop, and we'll have it done for next school year. And if there's, you know, this is all about children, so if there's any assets or strengths or talents that you have to help support us, this is kind of a group effort. But once again, just super proud of our children. It's a great time to be a kid in Vermillion. Thank you for your work with the new school. Just literally puts goosebumps on my legs. And thank you for these awesome teachers, because they're the ones that make this happen. So thank you.
We should give our youngest presenter.
Oh, yeah. Any questions?
Daniel,
Oh, I guess I forgot too. The grant also helped buy I think the playground equipment out front. The preschool playground equipment was purchased. This is some of the things that we spent the money on. So we spent thousands of dollars of learning tools that will belong into your preschool classroom. In addition to this, there's another round of tools that we purchased. We have the staff development, the transition, and then the playground equipment. So, and just there's this type of happenings in all of those centers around Vermillion. It's really exciting what this money has done. And Rachel played a part in the grant, and also Jim. So thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Gelding and team. I believe, Jim, I think we have an event that'll be open to the public here October 22nd over the noon hour at CC's, talking more about the grant in its entirety and all the partners part of that. So more to come, so follow the Chamber Facebook for information on that.
Rachel, if I could add just a thing for Sue and for Jim. Daniel, can you go back to the superpower slide, the design wheel there that was in Sue's PowerPoint? For those on our school board, our teachers see this as a very simplistic form of our design challenge, our design wheel that Finland teachers and our teaching staff have been using this last year, and will be reintroduced to our problem-solving skills this fall. We'll be introducing this again at Friday's in-service, but for Sue and for the people that brought this forward, this fits really nicely into the programs that our teachers are already doing. It just starts it at a super low level, the preschool level, which we appreciate, because it does follow the same type of design challenge of engagement, get your brain in gear, then ask questions, and then find out if you've succeeded in your problem solving. So that's super nice to see that we've got this build from preschool on up. And secondly, Sue had alluded to it, that the neat playground equipment that you see out in front of the elementary school was a school function up till several months ago, when Jim approached me and said, hey, we've got an opportunity to bring some dollars for preschool education and equipment and grant dollars to the community. Would the school benefit from any of that? And of course, we naturally said yes. And so he was able to secure with Sue some grant dollars that paid for that entire preschool playground area that's out front of the elementary school. So when we have our ribbon cutting on the 25th of September, people could take a closer look at that. But the important part about that is that freed up dollars for other parts of the project, namely the sod and the things that are going on to make improvements with the facade of the building. The extra sod and things that will complete that project were due because we were able to free up dollars that the district had put into that. So thanks to the VCDC and Sue for that work.
I have a couple questions. Has there been a history of collaboration between the school district and Head Start, or is this a first time?
We used to have on-site collaboration when we had more space in our building, and we had Head Start classroom at Austin School for a few years. And then when our class sizes increased and programs increased, space was not an option for us, and unfortunately, they had to be moved to other locations in town. We've always dreamt of opportunities for that joint collaboration on the same learning space in the past. Hopefully down the road, it may be available in our new site. This will, however, link all preschools across our community together in some joint professional development and growth and learning, and streamline some of our opportunities for preschool learners across our community. And so I think this is a perfect way to be more inclusive across the area. So we're excited about that. We've always joined together for screening opportunities and community outreach opportunities, but we've always known there was more room for additional growth.
Ms. Johnson, maybe add too about the other preschools in the community that were part of it, like Center for Family and Children.
Yes. And the new
USD.
preschool near the high school, the Pulse, yes, and the Curvage as well.
And this is state funding, state grant funding,
Yes,
federal
that
funding?
was the source, yes.
Okay. Good. Thank you. Thanks,
And I
everybody.
think that there were only 13 awards in the state, and that we're one of the few that address quality education. So I think that they'll kind of be listening a little closer just to kind of see what that looks like and sounds like. And kind of what we're hoping to do is get a model that works here that we can share with other preschools across South Dakota, so.
And the grant can talk more too about the newborn and the early childhood and all the other additions that they made as well. This is the preschool to kindergarten transition here. So that way every kindergartner walks into school like it's its birthday. Right.
You're welcome, thank you.
I'd like to thank Gus again for helping us see what it really does. You did a great job, buddy. It helps when, sometimes the grown-ups talk about the big words, but to be able to see the trains and to see how quickly you learned it and can show it to us, that's awesome. So
We had a
thanks.
blast playing with it all weekend. This was the only thing we did this weekend. Cool train set.
Awesome. Well, next up here, we move on to our consent agenda. This evening, we have approval of our minutes, resignation, new hires, open enrollment, and bills. We have listed for our minutes, August 12th and 27th, resignations, Mark Upward, assistant gymnastics, Trey Haig and Nick Robb, assistant wrestling. New hires, Paige McGanigal, full-time custodian, Janita Hansen, behavioral room aide, Tiffany Beacon, part-time custodian, Blake Holden, Brooke Beckhold, Aaron Legan, Cindy Horst, Abigail Nelson, Christina Spooner, Reagan Stock, Lemon Welsh, Travis Thies, Grace Christensen, Ruth Marie Larson, lunch aides, Samantha Notaboom, sped, Cole Rezak, sped, Cindy Menke, sped, Lorna Phillips, sped, Peyton Larson, assistant dance, Kayla Farmer, full-time custodian, and Marie Severson, JAG specialist. Would anybody like anything pulled from the consent agenda? Oh, should we approve the agenda? I'm not rereading that.
I'll move to approve.
Stop.
You got a motion.
All right, so we'll do first for agenda changes. Are there any, Mr. Elby?
No, there are not.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
First by Mark,
Second.
second by Carol. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Post same sign, motion passes. My thing. Next up here, we have indication of conflict of interest per South Dakota Codified Law 3-23. This is Rachel and I have none.
Jake and I have none. Mark and I have none.
Mike, I have none.
Excellent. Now we'll move on to consent agenda for approval of minutes, resignation, new hires, open enrollments, bills. I noted them previously. I don't know if Daniel has a list up there to put on, but would anybody like anything pulled from the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
First by Carol,
Second.
Second by Jacob. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up here, we have facilities review.
All
Do we have
right.
anybody joining us today?
We do. Greg and Mitch, we're going to join via Zoom, and we'll see if they are available. I can't. Are you guys on the Zoom?
We are.
All right.
Yep, we are.
All
Can you
right.
hear us okay?
We'll go ahead and start with you, Greg. I think your voice was coming through the most clear.
Okay. Yeah. This past month, just before school opened, the TSG electrical and mechanical teams, they walked through the building with housemen to make their last inspections. And then 2 weeks ago, I performed an exterior building inspection. So documenting the outside conditions and walked around the building perimeter. So, and put together the last punch list. So it's our goal, I think, Mitch, to have all the punch list items completed by the end of this week. And then both architects and engineers, the last month or two, really, we've been reviewing the warranties and operations and maintenance manuals to double check that all the items that are related to this project, all the product information is correct and that it's included. And then these will be submitted to the owner for their records and for documents to be referenced. So I think that's all I have.
Just kind of follow up, Greg, with those O&Ms and those warranties that we've been putting together. We've been getting those from our subs, reviewing those, trying to make sure that by the before we send them over to Greg and his team, that they've been vetted pretty well already. Try to save rework, and as Greg said, we'll accumulate all those into some hard copy binders, and then we'll have some as-built drawings that we'll provide a couple copies of hard copies to the owner, and then we'll have a couple digital thumb drives as well with the same information on those. Currently, we're working on finishing up those punch list items. There's a few little completion items that are out there, a few little tweaks, changes that we made later on that we're just finishing up. The timeout rooms are a couple of them, just adding a couple things in a couple of rooms to make them into timeout rooms. And then I just got word from my seating guy that they completed the seating today, so that's all done. So hopefully we get a little rain here and green it up out there. Other than that, just as Greg said, just looking to get that punch list wrapped up here this week, and as with a lot of within any new building or house, there's a few things here and there that people are noticing, and they're giving us good feedback so that we know what's going on, and we can get in and address any issues or any little things that pop up here in this early phase of moving in, getting settled in.
Okay. Yeah. In addition, if the board's thinking of any questions, in addition to what Greg and Mitch talked about, obviously the board had received a picture of the playground being used as part of their board packet. That seems to be a popular part of our addition so far, is that new accessible playground equipment. Like the gentleman said, our final finishes, we hope this week, we'll be able to knock off a few of the things while the kids are out of school on Friday. Staff will have in-service day, so while no kids are in the building, we were able to bring in and we'll hope to get our scoreboards placed and then finish some punch list items. We also have some final orders of teacher desks, and some of the furniture that was added to the project as the summer went along will be coming in the next few weeks. Just a reminder that we are scheduling a ribbon cutting for the community on September 25th, which is a Wednesday night. It's the Wednesday of homecoming, so that'll be fitting to celebrate the opening of our new school that week. It'll be a 4 o'clock start at the elementary in the front, with tours and things that will happen. But we'll have a few words to say. The VCDC and some of our vendors will be there to help support our opening. We'll also dedicate our playground at 5 o'clock that evening, with just an announcement of the Ofsted grant and some of the big donors that helped make that playground, accessible playground, a reality. And then finally, we're working hard with our vendors in our city of Vermillion to get checking into rebates that we might qualify for our improved lighting, as well as our chiller units. And so we hope that within the next week, we'll have some data to be able to supply to the board that we would get X amount of dollars back for putting in high-efficiency chiller units, as well as high-efficiency lighting in the project from the beginning. So that'll be something that we'll be proud to share in another time. And then finally, just a thank you to all the people who helped make our pickup and drop off a reality, because ever since this project started, we had wondered how our theory of having 2 lanes of traffic out front would work. And when we talked with the architects and the people that designed it, and with our traffic studies folks from the Department of Transportation, we were assured that if we could get the timing right, that this would work out. And for folks that have come and helped us by being volunteers, like Mark and others, and also our staff were coming and supplying the manpower to man the front and the rear of the school to have all those kids transported safely. We couldn't do it without those folks. And more importantly, too, our kiddos for walking safely across those lanes of traffic to and from school, and moms and dads who are being patient and separating themselves by just a few minutes here and there made a big difference. And we've really gotten that down to a pretty nice machine at this point, where we're exiting our kids from that school as fast as we ever did at Jolly at its peak. And this is 200 and some more kids at this location than was at Jolly. So really good things to talk about. I suspect that next month we'll have just another facilities update with just some pictures and some drone footage and some things that we'll be able to share with the public and brag about. But just to Mitch and his crew from Houseman, and of course Greg from TSP and their crew and all the vendors, we just want to thank everybody that's been a part of it. We've had a good experience, and looking forward to really getting the punch list done and really making it our elementary schools priority, and getting things right for them with furniture and the other things with the sod and the few additions. But yeah, anything else for the questions for me or for the gentleman online?
Thanks, Mitch and Greg, for all that extra concrete you poured, including the non-ADA steps. But they're in action and they're working well, so.
Good.
How's the middle school sitting?
Middle school, well, I guess we've got a couple of them here. I wasn't over there today, but
With the bathrooms?
the bathroom, the vanities are in. I don't know if the electricity was not in today. Ceiling tiles got in? No, not fully. So not quite where we need to be. And hopefully we'll be able to, we roused our person to get that taken care of this week, hopefully. But in terms of the student restroom, will still be continued to be worked on throughout the semester. We're disappointed that our staff had to wait this long to get into their restroom, but hopefully we can get that solved this week for them. Otherwise, pickup and drop off at the middle school has been exceptionally well as well. The people have really answered the call, and the kids are doing great about getting to crosswalks and crossing. And again, parents separating themselves by just a minute or two here and there makes all the difference with both pickup and drop off. So
I think if I recall, 2 scoreboards are coming in this week too. Is that one of those things that are?
Yes, the scoreboards are here. They're packed up and sitting in the hallway at the middle school right now. And Friday, we hope to have them into the new gymnasiums at the elementary.
How about kitchen and how the meal service is going?
Kitchen, I did put some notes in the board's packet about, last month we had questions about how the transition to really serving all of the students out of that middle school kitchen was gonna happen. It was right up to the end that we got the dry food storage done and complete. But Rochelle, you'll see the comments, I put them in the board packet. She's been extremely satisfied in terms of the quality and quantity of the amount of meals that they can get pushed through that new updated kitchen. The amount of dollars that the district invested into putting brand new equipment in there for serving lines, as well as preparation areas and islands for the staff, has made their life a little bit easier, which what's our goal the entire time. And the fact that we're not transporting food, we feel has really increased the quality for our kids. Now, we've only been in on just under a month, so we haven't gone through a complete cycle of menus yet. But I think she said we were down about 57 kids in terms of lunch and breakfasts to date to a normal week this time last year. But also our student numbers are down at this point as well. So 57 meals and breakfasts between a whole week over that course of time is something that we feel pretty good about. A la carte is actually higher at this point than it was this date last year. So all in all, we'd like to see a few more kids eating, but she's super happy with the redesign of her kitchen and with the new materials that the school board provided.
Any other questions for Mitch or Greg online as well? Not, we'll see you down here in a couple weeks.
Sounds great.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
guys.
Appreciate it.
See ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so next up here, we'll move on to our new business. We have approval of an adult volunteers. We have Varun as boys soccer, Michael Wingate as our counselor, Nick Hovden as boys golf. I think we can probably all do this in several motions, that's right. Next up, approval of our surplus items. Dr. Elvey.
Yeah, basically just every time that we do a cleaning of our buildings, we just continue to find more file cabinets and more tables that no longer are necessary in a new building, or we've replaced them. Bookcases, things like that at no value. Library books, those will be given out to kids, things like that. We also do have a single stall garage at Jolly that we will be selling off here in the month of October. We also have 2 homemade pickup trailers that we used at both the middle school and one elementary that will no longer be needed. And we have a Challenger automotive lift that we'll be looking to sell at some point in the coming month. What we'll be looking to do is we'll be working with our Boys and Girls Club and the daycares to give them first opportunities at surplus desks, chairs, book cabinets, file cabinets, to help all those groups that Sue and Jim and Kim talked about earlier. And then by the middle of October, we hope to host basically one last hurrah to get rid of things at the building at Jolly. And we'll put an announcement out for that later on, but it'll probably be around the 23rd of October, with the hopes that we'll be able to turn that building over by the 1st of July, or 1st of November to the city, because they will then fence that building off and begin the demolition process. We do know that there is a lot of interest in folks getting an opportunity to get a brick or some memorabilia from that building, so we'll work with the city to create opportunities for folks to get a Jolly brick if they would like to have one for a memorial or whatever. But more to come on that, but just need to surplus some items tonight.
Any questions?
Is there some type of bid process for people that are interested in the garage, or?
Yes, good. Yeah, what we'll do is we'll basically take a sealed bid for the things that have value that you saw listed in there, the trailers, and the automotive lift and the garage. We'll have a bid process for those, and the rest of that stuff is already placed at no value.
Thank you. Next up here, we have approval of the homecoming parade set for September 27th, and then an additional adult or kid volunteer day coming back for September 25th.
Yes, just a kind of an annual event for us. The parade for the homecoming, of course, that week will be the 23rd through the 27th. That Friday, we'd like the high school advisors have already approached the city about getting the okay to allow us to have the parade, which they've done. And now we'll just, of course, want the school board to, of course, approve the fact that we could dismiss school early, have the parade enter from high school all the way down to the courthouse, and then go back to the buildings and dismiss that day on the 27th. And in light of last year, you heard Mr. Fry talk about there was some some issues with our volunteer day that had kind of arisen over the last couple of years, and it had run into some snags, so they ended up postponing that last year, which was a disappointment to much of our school and our community. They'd like to reintroduce that. The student council has sought the approval of Mr. Fry and myself to bring that back, and we would like to offer that on Wednesday, September 25th. It would be a few hours in the morning, once again going to the care centers and the schools and different places in the community to perform some community service events, which we think is an important part of teaching young people about being a part of a community. And so we would like to seek permission from the board for both of those events tonight.
Just want to clarify, you said getting out early for the parade. You meant stopping school, going to the parade, but still the dismissal's time will remain the same,
Yes,
correct?
good correction. Yes, we're on time.
Are we, just for the public's sake, are we planning the parade to start at 1? Or we started at 1:30 before?
Yeah,
so
1:30,
just-
yes. I imagine it'll be 1:30.
Okay.
And then it's generally about an hour in length by the time we get our kids to and from. And by our time our kids come back and walk back to their schools, it'll be a normal dismissal time.
Perfect. And I take it public is welcome, and there's probably a sign up
Absolutely.
soon after
Yep.
today?
Encourage
Online.
it. Yep. And of course, our parade is always welcome to any of the people that are tied to the school and part of our vendor group and part of our community that helps partner with us each day.
Typically, no candy for those putting in their
Yeah,
Amazon, their orders.
unfortunately.
Yes. All right, next up, we have approval of the Johnson Controls Service Agreement.
This is just an annual review. We sometimes will go 2 or 3 years with a Johnson Controls or one of our vendors, but because we ended up taking Jolly and Austin offline with Johnson Controls, they provide our service agreement and monitor our systems. We did see a reduction of dollars for the, I guess, for the contract this year. Now we'll have to end up going back and renegotiating for next year at this time, which will probably go to a multi-year contract at that point.
Any questions? Thank you. Next up here, we have to approve the delegate assembly rep for November 22nd in Fort Pierre.
Yes, this is another annual event that the Associated School Boards provides an opportunity for school board members from all of South Dakota Public Schools to attend and kind of get the first glance on what might be coming legislatively, and then talk through and share and debate some of the ways that they want the Associated School Boards to maybe delegate or, I guess, promote the values of that group. So we typically send a volunteer member from our board to that. This year it happens to be on November 22nd in Fort Pierre from 1 till 4 in the afternoon. I think Mark went last year, if I remember, and maybe Rachel the year before, or Carol, I'm not 100% sure who went the year before, but it could be any member of our board, and it's just a good opportunity to maybe get a little bit of a sneak peek about what's coming legislatively.
Mark, are you able to even serve that as a board member still of the Associated School?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Any interest from anybody?
I'm the only one that's retired, so.
Would
And
you
we
like,
do
would you
have-
like to serve again, Mark?
Sure.
Anybody else? Perfect.
I will do it.
Motion quickly. No. All right. Thank you, Mark, for volunteering. Next up here, we have approve an innovative equipment grant invoice payment needing to be paid.
Yeah, one of the grants that we were awarded over the summer was the Innovative Equipment Grant. Mrs. Johnson put in a lot of work on that one and spoke about that last month, if you recall. One of the things about that grant was it did have a pretty tight timeline. We were awarded that, I believe, in June, and we have to have that wrapped up by the end of this month, which means that we are still in the process of trying to tie up some loose ends and secure invoices for the remainder of these. So we request tonight that you approve a couple of, or 3 different payments to vendors, assuming we can get invoices for these this week, so that we can then turn around and request for reimbursement. Those are for Boss Laser, up to $24,000 for laser cutter and engraver, installation and training. AOX Welding Supply for the air exchanger units, up to $39,000, and Moss Enterprises for up to $54,000 for welding simulators and installation.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any questions for any items A through F? Then I would take a motion to approve.
So moved.
First by Mark,
Second?
second by Mike. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up here, we have superintendent report.
Just a couple of thank yous, as we like to do at this time of the meeting each month. There's just so many people that help make things happen in our buildings, and we're just going to talk a little bit about thanking our staff and our students and our parents, because we've had a really good start considering some of the challenges in our buildings or some of the things that are not completed or not quite the way we wanted. But everybody has really kind of pulled together to make sure that kids get a good opportunity to learn, even if the buildings or if the curriculum or some of the other things are not quite perfect. But our staff and our parents and kids have really persevered. So thank you to all of those folks. Also, this time of the year, we always get the chance, the opportunity to thank our city of Vermillion as well as the Clay County commissioners for providing us with school resource officers. We're blessed in our community to have a resource officer that's paid for completely by the city, and that's Deputy Armstrong, and by the county is Deputy Armstrong, and then the Vermillion PD provides us with Mitch, and Mitch is one of those SROs that just was recently trained and now can do DARE for us and kind of expand the roles. So we've got several officers through UPD, Vermillion PD, and Clay County that can provide the DARE services for our school as well as St. Agnes. So those are invaluable, not only for the day-to-day operations, but for DARE and protection of our school and our staff and our students. Our student numbers are listed in your board packet there. Currently, our Vermillion Elementary is slated at about 595 kids total. That's JK through 5th grade. We're down about 30 kids there from this time last year. It's not unusual for us to move up and down, but this is the first year in a number of years that we've been lower at the start than throughout. So why we're down 30 throughout our elementary, I'm not 100% sure yet, but we'll be looking at, why does that happen? Is it a few large families? Was it kids that moved out last year? Maybe 15 of these kids were gone at the middle of last year and never returned. So really, it's only 15 new kids that we're missing. We just need to do a little work on that. But we are down at the elementary. Middle school is at 351, and they were at 333 this time last year, so they're up 20, roughly 20. And our high school is about 419, and they were at 438 at this time last year. So we're sitting approximately 1365 for our student pre-K, our JK through grade 12 enrollment, and then another roughly 38 kids or so that are in our preschool programs there. So we're down, like I said, roughly 30 students. Our final count will be the last Friday in September, which will be homecoming day. So hopefully we'll have gained some seats by that time, and then that's what our state aid will be funded on for the coming school year. Just for the reminder to the public, our school board held a retreat on August 27th. We had a great discussion about our strategic plan and just some things about setting goals for this coming school year. There is some unfinished business that we wanted to come back to, so we'll continue that debate and discussion on September 30th about 10 o'clock at Vermillion Elementary. So we'll have a couple of more hours of time for the board to continue on with their retreat notes and setting of the vision for the district. So thanks for that. I already shared a little bit about the fact that we had last month talked a little bit about some of our questions with food service, so we've talked about that. We've shared that we do have ribbon cutting on the 25th of September from 4 to 6 at the new elementary school, so be watching for some Facebook and some other announcements with that, and we hope that the public will take a moment to come and take a look at that beautiful building and do some tours, and we'll have an opportunity to celebrate with our folks there. And just another board request from last month, we had a brief discussion about what's kind of become a topic nationally on the use of student cell phones in schools. And so we opened this discussion up with our administrative team, and we'll continue the discussion throughout the course of the next several weeks. But really, it's just an open dialogue with our community. But our board had the question about you know, what do we do in our district in terms of our cell phone policy? Our policy as students may have their cell phones on them in school, at the high school, and then at each classroom, the teacher dictates whether or not they can use them, whether or not they can be in their person, or if they have to be placed in perhaps a pocket on by the door so it doesn't become a distraction. At the middle school, the students are asked to keep those cell phones off of their person and in their lockers, and then even at the elementary, that those cell phones are not on the students or checked into the office. So I guess I would just ask the board if there's any particular, questions or things that you would like us to ask of our staff. We have our staff together on Friday for our in-service. I have it as a note to mention to them that we're considering as a school district, do we need to do more to protect kids from social media distractions in school? And if so, what does that look like? If you follow the news in the state of South Dakota, there's been a variety of schools that have done basically, you check them in at every class, it's consistently done the same, that the students are not in possession of their phones until passing times and lunchtime. And then there's other schools that do it like us, which is it's room to room and teacher to teacher. So I guess it's just a discussion item that we wanted to make available to the public because we as a school board and we as an administrative team have had some discussions on that. So I don't know if there's any word on that tonight or it'll become more prevalent at our board retreat here in a few weeks, but just wanted to make sure that the viewing public understood that we were talking about that. And that's all I had.
I think it'd be really good to get a feel where the teachers are on that issue.
Okay.
It's going to vary a bit, but if it's a problem, we need to know.
Any questions for Dr. Ellie?
The other question related to that would be specifically in the high school, how they may do it differently per classroom. Has there been pushback from the students, or what's been best practices if they do check them in at the door versus have them with, and have there been concerns? Be interested to know if majority are already checking them in, and so it wouldn't be that big a deal, or is the majority on your person? So it'd just be interesting knowing that.
I did do a survey of the large school superintendent group, which is the top 20 biggest schools in the state, and about 3/4 of them have already have a policy and that says that you must check them in. Maybe it's just slightly over half. Check them in whatever room you're in. That's where it goes. It goes in a sleeve by the door. You can't use it. The schools provide a device that's where you would gather your information. It's on a filtered, internet-free service from the K-12 data center. And I asked the question specifically of that group, what pushback did you get? And I'll just use a couple of neighboring schools. Dakota Valley, for example, has had this policy for years and I got no pushback from the public or their student body. Now, once in a while, they'll have once in a while where a student will just, pipe up that they don't want to do it or put a burner phone in there or whatever. But by large, the parents and the students have bought into it because they do have freedom to use it just during passing times, before school, after school, and at lunch. But during the school day, they're not pulling out their phone and seeing a message from a friend on social media through an unfiltered device that the school can't control. Harrisburg's the same thing, that those two specifically reached out and said, we've had no problems with this. So it's out there, it's just on varying degrees.
I guess I would ask too, it's more about a retreat, but maybe for KSB to come if they have a few minutes to share some information. Particularly how their research is on not having cell phones during passing time and lunchtime particularly. So since we're already kind of doing that way at the high school, not having them in some of their classrooms, but it's the passing time and the lunchtime that is concerned. I have concerns with.
Can do.
Perfect. Anything else? All right. We're gonna get you guys all out of here by 8. Perfect. School board, any committee reports? we had a good retreat, and we all got a great tour of the elementary school. And thank you to your team, Dr. Elvey, for all the kind of quick things that were done with the feedback at the elementary school. Just some of that cement and the unplanned sod, and just with the work that you've done. I've heard there's more swings out there ready. I don't know if they're the permanent ones or the. They are. Please tell me the rumor is false that the merry-go-round is not going away. Right, Ms. Johnson? No.
No, it's
good.
not.
Okay. I
No.
wonder if there was some restriction going on there. Anyway,
No, I don't-
said no. I'm pretty sure we're not taking it away.
No.
Frozen. Okay, I can use that word. That's a good word to use at home. It's frozen. So, but they are loving the school, and kids have had great feedback on that as well.
Good.
So, thanks for that quick action. Any other committees? All right, perfect. We'll move on to financials. Mr. Kosher.
As of this last week, we have now done what will be pretty much our last draw from our South Dakota Fit account for our capital project fund. Those funds have pretty much all been exhausted now with the payments that have gone out. So we are now splitting those payments for this month for anything dealing with the project between that and our capital outlay fund, which was has been the plan all the way along here. And we'll be working with South Dakota Fit on anything that we owe. We did so well in our interest that we earned on those funds throughout the course of the last 3 years that we'll actually end up having to go back and pay a little bit of that back. So we will be working with South Dakota Fit on figuring out exactly how much that is. But that was really well done and a great partnership that we had there. We're continuing to also monitor our general fund balance for short-term cash balance considerations. We'll have some more conversations about that. One of the things that we might need to have in the next couple of weeks here, possibly next week, is a finance committee meeting. So we'll look, Mike and Jacob, for what availability you might have next week for a finance committee meeting to discuss that a little bit more in depth. And then, of course, we're also watching those enrollment numbers for long-term ramifications that they might have for our budget. And that is about it for this month here.
Any questions? Now I would take a motion to approve the funds.
So moved.
First by Jacob.
Second.
Second by Mark. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Next up here, any future agenda items? Seeing all nods, all right. Our next meeting is October 15th, and again, remember that is a Tuesday due to the holiday on Monday, and then followed by November 11th. We are not in need of executive session, so I would take a motion to adjourn here at 7:53.
So moved.
First by Jacob, second by Carol. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Have a good evening. I'll go